Welcome one and all. This is HAGER'S Hangout, and we're in for a show. It is a Christmas special, thus the tree in the background. You might be thinking, a Christmas special. What are you talking about? Christmas has been at least a week ago. I don't remember, right? At least a week ago. Well, believe it or not, there's many different calendars. For example, you have the Julian calendar and the Gregorian calendar. So people from Eastern Europe and parts of the Middle East actually celebrate things and follow things on a lunar calendar instead of a standard calendar that we use in the U.S. So this being technically Christmas was yesterday, but YOLO, right? So, Merry Christmas one and all. And the best part is, since I said Merry Christmas to other people throughout the day yesterday, not one person said, hey, this is way too offensive. Things are either progressing or they just don't care. All right. Well, we have a special today. Now, we are going to cover some things. This is the first time I'm actually going to encompass a few sort of props. This is also the first time I'm going to go ahead and introduce something like a list and a written plan. So instead of me memorizing and selecting what is right for the category, I can go ahead and see which plan to I can have more of an executed plan. Plus, I forget things. It happens, right? Well, let's go ahead and start with I celebrated Christmas with fellow co-workers of what was it, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago? I don't know. For all I know, it was yesterday. Who knows? But one thing that I really got was a really awesome shirt. Thank you for that. So they either think I really like America, thus the red, not the red, white, blue, but the American flag and the American weapons of history, or they're waiting till I go stateside where I am carrying around the American flag and just let Antifa finish me off. Who knows? There's another famous comedian that has props and stuff like that. I think the name is Carrot Top. One thing that I never understood is Carrot Top. Why do you get that name? Has anyone here ever owned a farm or grown vegetables or anything like that? Believe it or not, carrots have green top. So unless this guy Carrot Top is molding and stinking like high heaven, I don't understand it. Maybe he's good for the eyes. I don't know. But another thing that someone gave me for Christmas is someone gave me some napkins. I couldn't believe stuff like this exists. It says, "Merry Everything." See, you don't want to give this to the wrong person, especially in Hollywood. Before you know it, you'll be having people go through 5, 6 divorces a week. I don't get it. But Merry Everything, since apparently Christmas is way too offensive. After seeing that, I need a cup of Christmas Joe. Hot cocoa, eh? All right. Now, the next thing that I wanted to mention today was the fact that in a short period of time, we've dealt with some customers. I'm sure some of you have dealt with customers at least once in your career in this company or in this sort of genre of expertise. And you might be thinking, well, what type of customer do you typically get? People who know their stuff, people who just inspire you? Well, sometimes yes. Sometimes you have some individuals that have difficulty screwing in a light bulb. You may think, how difficult is it to screw in a light bulb? Okay? Well, first thing, you have a little string. For those of you at home that doesn't know what this is, you put a lead bulb in, and then you can turn the socket on or off if the dang thing works. The reason why we have the customer test the socket before they leave is sometimes, like this one, it doesn't work. Well, the person who had one of these, he's like, you know what? Let's treat it like a pull cord, like on a M777 artillery piece, where you just go boom and just launch a big piece. Well, it snapped. But no. You have to yank on it so hard where the metal is still in the socket. So you're flipping off the breakers and making sure you don't electrocute yourself, right? But there's like a binary condition, on, off, easy, right? On, off. So he goes ahead, grabs a stack. If one didn't work, 3 or 4 are definitely going to work. So you screw it in, you put it in our test socket, it doesn't work. Let's try the other one. It doesn't work. Well, the problem is you have the laws of probability, which each of these outlets have a 50% chance being on, 50% chance being off. You would think someone would just separate them and test them individually. Oh, no. That is what you would think. We don't have that with all customers. So you have some customers just ripping it like a ripcord and testing for 4 outlets at 4 sockets at a time. So they're like pull, almost like a wonderful game of chance. I wonder if he gambles. Who knows? Well, luckily for him, one of my co-workers went ahead and helped him out, and it's good to go. This happened 3 times with different people in a matter of like a week. So I think we might have lead in the water, that or mercury in the food. I don't know, but we ought to check that stuff out. I joke. I'm not going to test any of that out. Now we have barriers all over areas, and you go ahead and you have a big truck drive through this little passage, and then you have another stubborn person driving in the other way, and it's a one-way, and it is freaking hilarious where you have a stubborn little I want to say like a 50cc Toyota versus a big hauler, and guess who has to move? Yeah, that's right. Of course, it's the big rig. Since the person in the little 50cc little truck, I don't know if they can't find the reverse or what, but stubborn is what stubborn does, right? But that is the joys of working in our field. We are always seeing crazy stuff, and we're dealing with different customers. We have to deal with, how would I phrase this? Different levels of experience. That's a nice way of putting it. And you may ask, how do you handle different levels of experience? Well, this is very difficult for some people. When I say very difficult, I mean, if you want a mousetrap, you have to be able to set it before you take it. And they're like, do you have a crowbar for me to release the trap? And I'm like, if you need a crowbar for a staple, you need to find a new career field. Probably see new counselor. But to bend it and to flip it, I've seen so many different versions of people trying to set it. It is hilarious. I have seen people trying to set it like this. It ain't working. Well, yeah, this spring's right here. I've seen people trying to fit in this hole. I've seen people just... No, you have to brace it. I swear, one person, I swear, this bar hit every single finger twice. It's broken. How's it broken? It won't set. So I set it just... Hey! Now I can take the trap. No. You still have to set it, but that's not fair. Oh, I love customers. But that is what I'm here for, to help customers out. Sometimes I help them out with little things, sometimes with slightly big things. For example, one project that I had was to build a sign. So I go to our area where they have a bunch of wood carvings and different types of tools and hammers and all that fun stuff, and some equipment higher than that. So I'm like, all right, I want to borrow a router, okay? Just a simple router. So one of the bosses there is like, all right, do you know how to use a router? I got this. I've been on YouTube. The other boss is like, just give it to him. I want to see what happens. But the main boss is like, are you sure? He's never touched a router, and there's a possibility that he'll lose fingers. And I was like, you know what? I know several people with missing fingers that live life just fine. Well, I still have 10, knock on wood. But the project was pretty good. I used a tool that I've never used before. I learned some things. For example, if you're using a router, you cut the inside before the outside. Otherwise, you're holding on to an E with the blade like within millimeters of your fingers, especially when you sneeze. But it's okay. I've got 10 fingers. The sign was made, painted it up, and it's out hanging just fine. Looks like someone with a little bit of excessive alcohol did it, but hey, even alcoholics did some really nice masterpieces. Have you heard of Beethoven? But hey, that's all right. But one thing that I don't like about this area is the sand. What do you mean? Aren't you in Asia? Why, yes, I am in Asia. And you know what? There's sand in Asia. There's sand all over in Asia. And believe it or not, I don't think there's one country in Asia without excess sand. From Japan to I guess Iraq. Iraq's Middle East. And that's Asia. So yeah. But the sand around here, my goodness. You're driving around in your two-wheel drive Ford F-150. You're like, do. It's daytime, sun in your eyes, and then before you know it, you're like, rrr. Rrr. All right. So you go ahead. I wish I had a shovel, but what I did have is a little piece of scrap metal that I found, well, in the sand. So obviously it was a chronic problem. So I'm using that scrap metal to dig myself out, and then someone stops by and said, hey, you need a hand? Half of me was like, nah, I'm independent. I got this. The other half of me is saying, well, when a ship sinks and somebody throws you a life vest, doesn't mean you're a coward to use a life vest. Yeah, some people can swim like Michael Phelps and swim the channel or do stuff like that, but if someone's willing to help, go ahead and help. And I believe that same day, I helped 2 other people get unstuck. A little nervous when you're helping someone in a decently big vehicle when you're in a smaller vehicle, but hey, let's give it a try. What's the worst thing that can happen? 2 people stuck? Which has happened one, but that's okay. I got a forklift. I just have to walk a few miles to get it, but we got this. So yeah, so we have like a sand dune amongst really, really interesting areas, since there's construction and there's areas, and everyone, I think I've seen 3 people get stuck in the same sand dune somewhere over there, if all you know where I'm talking about. But yet they keep driving in the same area. Let's not label it, let's not do anything. And the problem is, the sand is the same exact color. The soft sand is the same color as, well, let's be honest, give it a week, it's the same color as asphalt half the time. But that's okay. So that's why now I carry cargo straps and shovels, and I carry around a cell phone. I don't have cell phone reception, but at least I have that nice placebo. I rent out equipment, from a hammer to a 10K forklift. Alright, so when I borrow a 10K forklift, particularly to one group of people, they tend to, I don't know if when they're climbing, they just grab onto the steering wheel and just go, ah! Who knows? Or if they hit a speed bump, they just put their whole weight on the steering wheel and just ride the wheel. I don't know. But I've deadlined the vehicle several times, and I'm like, you know what? I could trust a mechanic to fix it, or I could fix it myself. So I'm digging around, looking for tools, finding out I didn't have the right tools, so I go ahead and find something that'll work good enough, and ratchet, y'all good. It's fixed. Then I'm like, wait, if it's really this simple to fix the equipment instead of trusting others to fix it, what else can I do? Let's see my list. Before the predictions, let me give you a summary of what 2020 looked like. Well, come January 2020, we went through the long, arduous process of impeachment. Then there was, in February, the Black Lives Matter started burning the country down. Then March, we have the whole scare of the CCP virus. The CCP virus is the proper term for the coronavirus, just for context. And that was when it was openly reported. Why do I say openly reported? We knew about the CCP virus since November. But, well, if you believe the World Health Organization, only 5,000 Chinese have died from that awesome decision. But whatever. Alright, come April, Joe was accused of a massive sex assault. Again. Then you had, I do follow some of the events that happened in the army. For example, we had a person named Vanessa go AWOL. Then they found out that she wasn't AWOL, she was just in pieces. But, so they went ahead and changed that from criminal offense to, well, not so much criminal. Alright. So now we're in May. So you have something called the Boogaloo Killing. Some people are like, what is Boogaloo Killing? Well, it's simple. When a terrorist organization kills police officers, it's not worth reporting. So, there's now a movement to target police, and obviously it's not going to be reported over the news. But that same month, you have George Floyd, who dies from fentanyl overdose. But since a police officer was in proximity, he got blamed. June, you have Chaz. What is Chaz? Well, you have acronym, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. That's when a bunch of hippie protesters shut down a block and they wanted to go ahead and create their own country as peaceful as the ideology would allow it. Well, surprise, surprise, if Chaz was a real country and they actually became 100% autonomous, they per capita had more murders than Baghdad, more rapes than any other country on the planet, and they had more theft than I believe I forgot what country, but they would have been the second most safe, second least country on the planet. But hey, ideology wins, right? Let's go into August. August, you have riots. They changed the name from China virus to COVID, thinking, well, we don't want to offend China because that would be offensive and we don't want China against us. Why don't you want China against us? Well, when you have a puppet in the White House, we want to be able to go ahead and have an ally somewhere. Okay, Roger. There's more rampant murders of police officers. Apparently no one cares, but let's go on to September. All right, you have the Israeli and Kosovo agreements, which basically means Bahrain, I can't pronounce it, but they are now with agreement with Israel. We have the start of peace in the Middle East. This is September. This is also roughly when elections are starting to ramp up. So obviously if elections are ramping up, well, there's got to be a little instability. But around the world, Kosovo and Siberia are having peace, and if you don't read a history book, that is very, very rare. Very, very rare. Kosovo and Serbia have been at war with each other since, I want to say, well, let me give you context. It was the Serbians that started World War I. Okay. Now we're in October. You have Biden and the Ukraine scandal. Oh, no! Don't research this. Let's still focus on Trump Russia. It's been proven false. But don't look at Ukraine. Why? Because there's evidence. Okay. There's there was a kidnapping of the Michigan governor. Oh, now that's a big deal. A Democrat, obviously, when a Republican was under siege. Well, there's nothing to see here since, let's be honest, the media only shows one side. Then you have Israel and Sudan have a peace agreement. Oh, sweet. So that peace agreement in the Middle East is expanding. This is progress. This is very, very impressive. They won't report it on the news because, well, it's an election year. All right. November. Elections. Well, you had mail-in ballots before, but elections happen. Trump wins by a landslide, but there's a computer system that says, well, that doesn't really work. Since Trump was winning, especially Michigan. Hey, look, apparently 200,000 people voted for Biden and like 10 people voted for Trump. It looks like there was a 10-person accident in the filled-in ballots. Well, yeah, so that happened. And then you had, right. Trump wins through votes, Biden wins through media. Makes sense. All right, now it's December. Israel has peace with Morocco, another expanding peace in the Middle East. Something that almost no one has been able to do since maybe World War I, maybe earlier. I don't know, but it's expanding. It's expanding. Before you know it, at this rate, with so many countries having peace, maybe Iran is next. Unfortunately, this only goes through December. All right. Then you have the bombing that happened on Christmas Day. Well, it's not really worth investigating since, well, it may have been a leftist that did the bombing. But, that was inside the U.S. So that's a summary of 2020. So, I look into my magic 8 ball and try to predict the future. Very optimistic, right? Well, let's see. Movies are going to suck. Very bad. How can you say that? Well, for a whole year, they've been on lockdown. So, instead of depending on things like good story, historical accuracy, or having good, high-quality characters, it's going to be a lot of CGI. A lot of CGI. So they are going to have really good-looking movies that are going to say absolutely nothing, like listening to a politician on Rewind. All right. Oil and gas, oil/gas and coal is going to go very, very expensive. How can you predict the price of oil and gas? Well, there's something called a Green New Deal. Orlando Cortez, a senator from, I think Jersey. I think only Jersey can elect someone that bad, but who knows? She basically wrote up a plan and basically stated we just need to remove fuel, cows, and the economy from our country and create a utopia. So you may think, how are you going to do this? Well, step one is obviously remove fracking and make it where oil companies can't, produce a lot of oil, and we can't import a lot of oil. Let's go ahead and just put all that money towards windmills. It takes one windmill to power one factory, maybe, but in their infinite wisdom, which is, hey, let's save the environment. Yeah, windmills have been proven to shred bald eagles worse than worse than Biden shreds the Constitution, but hey, whatever. But you may ask, how is that really going to affect you and me? Well, I was looking online yesterday and looking for, I'm not going to say I'm a prepper, but I like preparing for the future. I'm not stockpiling 30 years worth of food, 30 years worth of ammo, 30 years worth of, hammers, I'm not one of those preppers, but I like having enough so if something goes bad, you have a little bit of stockpile. Plastic bags, like specifically Mylar bags, really good for if you freeze drying or drying food or no, not freezing food, but vacuum sucking food, you like using Mylar bags because the Mylar will prevent light from getting in, it reduces the heat, and makes the food last longer. Try finding that online at a reasonable price. The sizes that I was about to order, I couldn't find anywhere. Just note that. Just note that. All right, that's just a single just a single sample. Okay, you are right. That is just a single sample. Not everyone even knows what Mylar is. After all, it's used for Magic the Gathering. The foil cardstock may have Mylar, but who knows? Let's look at it elsewhere. Well, I used to work in a food factory. I'm not going to say which one, since I don't want people who disagree with this video to burn the place down. So I'm going to say I worked in a food factory that worked. They made millions of units a day of their specialty. Yes, that's vague enough. All right. And one thing that I did was I called someone up just out of curiosity and said, "Hey, has there been any changes lately?" Yes, because there's been a massive since plastic is a non-essential equipment, we can't get saran wrap to wrap our food pallets. So they are having to use twine to wrap food on the pallets. Let's just say twine isn't as structurally secure as, well, plastic wrap. So that's another warning. I could go on, but let's just say, just note this for after I'm kicked off of YouTube, which it's probably going to happen soon. All right, and you say coal. Why is coal being banned? Well, it's about being able to produce a lot of something very quickly. All right, so I go ahead and I like making a campfire once in a blue moon when I'm not burning pallets, since apparently there's toxins in pallets. Whatever. But when I'm not building pallets, burning pallets, I will use coal. Why not propane? Because I'm not Hank of the Hill. So I look at the chain and I recognize that if we go through the Green New Deal, a lot of the factories that require coal are not going to be able to buy coal much. So that means the price of coal is going to be not subsidized by power plants. So that means if you want to barbecue on 4th of July, assuming that's not banned yet, if you want to barbecue on 4th of July, you are going to have to pay a very hefty price for coal or start smuggling some from probably Canada or Mexico. Just like the old alcohol smuggling rings back in the day. Alright, so let's move on. Alright, there's going to be new strands of the CCP virus. Why? Why are there going to be new strands? Well, medically it makes sense where things evolve and change and stuff like that. Does anyone here remember the swine flu? That was also a version of coronavirus that came from China, that mutated into the COVID-19, also known as the CCP virus. Hell, just corona in general might as well be known as the CCP virus, since every 3 or 4 years we get hit by something that comes out of China. Just remember back, what was the last 5 plagues that this world really suffered from? China, the Black Plague, CCP, the swine flu. Oh shit. Hey, at least China can manufacture something of high quality. Alright. You think ammunition is expensive now? Wait till 2021. Oh boy, I swear, ammunition will be a more reliable currency than anything else. Back in the day, the old Western days, yeehaw kind of days, they used to trade like shotgun shells and ammunition shells for like shot glasses. That's why they were called shots, since it's a shotgun shell for a shot of alcohol. Soon, one 122 bullet might get me a case of beer at this rate. But hey, what do I know? I've got my stockpile. All right. So there's going to be reports of larger fires and bigger national disasters than ever before. And it's going to be obviously global warming to blame, not the fact that you're having power plant companies stop investing in, maintaining the power plants, instead gambling on like solar and wind and stuff like that. So you're going to have power plants, the power lines go down, cause fires. Actually, the last 5 years, 85% of the fires in California were caused by, regulation lowering the requirement for, not mandating that they can't put money towards maintaining the power lines. So go figure. Bigger the government, the smaller the people, and you have people going ahead and having their houses burned because some politician wants to feel real good and say, let's do something green and eco-friendly, like a solar plant. But that big solar plant can provide enough reliable power for like 5 houses. How about having, I don't know, nuclear? I don't know. Oh, but what about Chernobyl? Yeah, another socialist that fucked up. Alright. I predict that Trump is going to be banned on almost every social media platform. They already announced, after I made this slip, that Trump is going to be banned from Twitter. Like, the day he steps out of office will be the day he gets banned. So it's like a preemptive countdown. Boy, that's going to really help their stocks, right? Hell, I think Trump probably has half the tweets on Twitter. But who knows? U.S. borders. U.S. is going to borrow a lot of money from China. What do you mean a lot of money? Don't we already borrow a lot of money? Why, yes we do. We borrow, us poor taxpayers just say, here you go. But no, we actually borrow a lot of money from other countries, and a lot of countries are willing to buy our debt since we have been very reliable and very, very strong economy. And the last 4 years, Trump reduced our debt to China. There was another trick that he wanted to do with China. Basically, China owes us trillions of dollars. We own China. We owe China, I think, trillions of dollars. So they're like, since you're defaulting on your debts, and we have a lot of debt with you, why don't we just cancel each other out? So you're not in debt to us, we're not in debt to you. We're good to go. And China's like, no, because we don't have plans on paying you back, but we hope that you pay us back, so we're not going to do that. So he went to Congress and said, hey, we had this during the Monroe Doctrine days. If we approve it, it cancels a massive percentage of our debt. It's just a quick instant. Well, that would make Trump look good. So obviously, unfortunately, he doesn't control the House, so that wasn't approved. Hopefully, Biden comes up with that great idea, but that probably won't happen. So I think China is going to get a lot of debt bought from the U.S. And why do you think I say that? Well, remember that laptop scandal with China? Yeah, that was Biden's son making a lot of deals with China, making sure that he gets a lot of money on the side and sells out our country. So with Biden being president, that definitely won't happen, right? Okay. There's going to be a lot of growth in stocks, and you're like, wait, you're saying that the economy might collapse. You're saying that the people are gonna be out of plastic. They're gonna be in great censorship and stuff like that. Why do you think the stocks are going to go up? Well, simple. Based upon history, in a socialist system, if you are closely attached to the party, you are just fine. Does anyone here think that CNN, Google, Facebook isn't closely tied to the controlling party? Their stocks are going to go up. Anyone who allies, I'm not a finance I hold no legal obligation if you lose all your money in stocks. But I think they're going to go up. I think they're going to go up big time for the big companies because they are using that to completely cripple the small companies. For example, how many times, especially during the CCP virus, you need a power cord, you need an outlet, you need a laptop, you need something. You just walk on by to go to your local hardware store or your local computer store and you pick that stuff up. Well, no, since all the small businesses are forced to close. Walmart's allowed to open since, quite frankly, they have some food amongst all their other stuff. $1 billion, I think, was earned by Amazon just the first few months because people are buying stuff for home since everything's delivered to the house. And the more money you spend on Amazon and Walmart and stuff like that, the more it's going to hurt the little guys. Then before you know it, little guys close down. Who's remaining? People that are going to maintain good stocks. Just a vague prediction. Anything permanent is going to be valued. What the heck does that mean? Well, anything permanent, for example, your Singer sewing machine is going to be valued more than your iPhone. How? How is that possible? Well, your iPhone is only good for 2 years, right? Your iPhone might be good for 3 years, maybe. I personally think it's a dud coming out of the box, but hey, I don't like Apple. But when you buy games online, you don't have a disc. You're not able to go ahead and 3 years later do a LAN party and have fun playing that game as it was originally done. Now, with the streaming online and stuff like that, they can modify the game. They can correct wrong speak, wrong thoughts. So, the gaming, and they can ban your account. For example, I think it's Good Old Games, or definitely Blizzard. If you say something bad like Free Tibet, you can have your entire account banned. And all your games that you purchase, all your microtransactions, gone, deleted. You can't get them back. It's all gone. And that, I believe, is going to be a more and more prevalent thing. And I think the things that you buy, for example, figurines or movies or anything that you can physically touch, is going to have a much lower life expectancy. So who the heck has use for a Singer sewing machine? Well, I know people with Singer sewing machines. They're like 150 years old. I've used one myself. Actually, for a while, that's how I was sewing my stuff. Then I modified it to make it into a movie projector, but let's not go into that old. But a lot of the old stuff is lasting. This hammer is going to be a functional tool in 20 years, 50 years. It's always going to be a functional tool. Whether you're dropping it on your foot or you're using it to hit a nail, it's functional, it's permanent. Less and less things are made to be permanent. Everything is made to be renewed and stuff like that. And when there's massive inflation, let's just say it costs $100 to buy a loaf of bread. That's impossible. Look at Venezuela. Inflation's possible. All right. This hammer is going to go up with inflation because this maintains value. This a working person can actually construct. It can actually build. It can actually create. It can actually do something with. Your car or anything that is permanent is going to be able to follow inflation, but not your electronics, because it's got a self-timeout. All right. God is going to be removed from government. What do you mean by that? I honestly believe it's going to be removed from our money. In God we trust. I hope they don't put like in Hillary we trust, but hey, I honestly think throughout the year they're going to slowly remove anything religiously tied, especially to one specific religion, with the government. They are going to be making it where you no longer swear on the Bible in juries, or they are going to be removing religion from our society. Nostalgia is going to be strong. Remember the good old days when South Park used to be funny? Remember the good old days when you used to be able to buy a game and play it for 2 years, unlike that FIFA, where you have to buy a new version every year? Remember the good old days when people used to not have to wear masks? Remember the good old days? I believe the good old days is going to be remembered, and it's going to be exploited. Monetarily, anything that brings back good old days is going to be at a high cost, and people are going to go for it. They're going to want to bring back the good old memories. And just be careful not to be exploited. That's why a bunch of my shoes are, well, not here, but a bunch of my shoes are from like the 50s. Since you have something good, you treat it right, it's gonna last a long time. I actually think some of my YouTube videos, I was wearing my wool pants. That's probably older than my parents, but whatever. Good old days, right? So that's why old Star Wars everyone likes, and everyone sees Luke as being a strong character. Yay! They see The Last Jedi. Wait, is this Star Wars? Nah, not for me. Okay. Coin and paper money will be scarce. I don't know if anyone knows, but you used to be able to go to a bank. Actually, I think this happened just last month. You can give them $30 worth of coin, and they'll give you $40 worth of credit in their bank account. They are slowly removing physical coin from our currency. They're melting it down. They're not printing a lot of coin. Well, that doesn't make any sense since you go to a meter and it's your credit card. It's not coin anymore. So that makes perfect sense. What do you use coin anyway for? The laundromat? Even laundromats are credit card operated. This is very true. There is merit in that statement. But when they're literally making you make profit off exchanging coin, I think it's a warning. But what the heck do I know? I'm only from the Soviet Union, and well, the Soviet Union had no value money. Alright, oh, paper money is also disappearing. But not to the same rate. But that's another story. More flags, American flags, are going to be indoors than ever before. In my prediction for 2021, there's going to be a massive push for courthouses, schools, any business to take down their American flags. I've already been part of a very liberal, progressive high school where they had massive censorship on the school internet, and it was hilarious. The guy censoring for our own good was a little bit later arrested for being a pedophile by taking data from the students at the school. Go figure. Massive censors are not morally good. What do I know? But that school, the first year they said the Pledge of Allegiance and all that stuff. But after the first year, they banned the American flag in the school. I believe this is going to be a nationwide thing. They already went ahead and changed the Pledge of Allegiance to exclude under God, since what's more bigoted than saying the Pledge of Allegiance? So I believe to be a proud American, you're going to have to hide it, or you're going to have to suffer, especially if you're a business, mob mentality trying to shut you down. But what do I know? All right, re-education will be widespread. What the heck do you mean by that? Remember Cortez? Well, she said we need to have a list of people who supported Trump, and we need to re-educate and show them the error of their way to support the President of the United States. This was a big mistake. Well, I believe I heard this happen before. They tried that in the Germans tried that in Poland. The Russians tried that all over Eastern Europe. Well, I believe it's actually going to start happening this year in the U.S. There's going to be, and my last prediction for the night, there's going to be talks about removing at least 2 federal holidays. Removing or replacing them with something else. They already changed Thanksgiving to Indigenous Day, but it's not official yet. I do believe that Indigenous Day will be official very soon. The 4th of July, I do believe, is going to be possibly on the chopping block. Definitely Veterans Day is something that supporting us fascist vets, I think it's going to be a very tough pill to swallow, especially when police officers wear the American flag on their shoulder, and I've seen many vets salute police officers and thank them for their good deeds and stuff. I do believe that might be on the chopping block too, but who knows? What do I know? Well, with all that out of the way, I just wanted to say, time flies. Holy cow. Well, I just wanted to say thank you very much, and at every end, I ask for 2 questions. Go ahead and raise your hand, and let's get 2 questions that I can answer. Hit me. You in the hat. You look like you have a question. Hit me with a question. Oh, you've been bone. Yeah, hit me.
What do you think paper currency will be out of use too? Just like points.
That's a very good question. Well, paper currency is something permanent. You can touch it. You can do transactions. I can pay you $100 to fix my car. I can pay you for, let's just say, if I didn't trust a gun store, I can pay you for your old hunting rifle without paying a massive fee to the government to ask for permission for me to own something that I already own, or I should be allowed to own. If you remove paper currency, you are reliant on a trackable system that they can determine tendencies and habits. Do you go ahead and spend $1,000 a month on your local patriotic strip club, or do you spend $1,000 a month on your? I don't know. I don't do strip clubs, so I don't know if they're patriotic or not. But I'm taking an educated guess. I don't know. But or do you spend your money on propagandas such as what was that? Well, any of the new Star Wars products, other than Mandalorian. That was legit. I honestly think that if you can track everyone's habit, you can predict their social currency. China already has a policy and a social point system where you can earn points by doing good deeds, and you can lose points by wrong thing or not doing a good deed. For example, you find a wallet on the ground. If you turn it into the local administration, they can give you up to 5 points in your social credit score. And I believe the social credit score is up to 1,000. Okay, so everyone starts off at, I believe it was 750 to the best of my recollection. I believe once you hit 18, boom, it's 750. And if you turn in a wallet because you're a good person, hey, now you're 755. Now you get benefits of better health care, better education, better food opportunities. Did you know that if you have a credit score under 600, you're not allowed to use public transportation, to include airlines? If you have a credit score below 400, you're not allowed to leave your village or your city block if you're in a city. If you're caught leaving that area, you can be arrested and turned into an organ donor. You think I'm joking? Look it up if you want. But I honestly think creating this network of credit score is something that will come to America, and debatably it already has. For example, I have a very low social credit score. Why? Because come January 1st, I went ahead and tried log on to Patreon, since I actually support other people who do good deeds. Not political, but just good deeds. And my account in Patreon has been banned. A lot of people's account has been banned due to wrongthink starting January of this year on Patreon. I honestly think within 6 months to a year, it's going to happen the same on YouTube. With me speaking like this, obviously there's a low life expectancy for me on YouTube. I'm not going to get recommended by anyone. Oh, by the way, Hager's Hangout is a YouTube channel if you want to see the remaining videos. But I honestly think that social networking is going to be very, very important for future employment. That's why once I retire out of the job that I'm in right now, I have a few plans that require permanent actual things that I create. So therefore, it's more difficult for someone to take it away from me through social pressure. Next question. Any question. Funny, not funny, anything.
What's your dream job?
Alright. I used to think my dream job was being in the army, driving a tank over a little Prius and just watching it burn. Now I just drive over shit and my vehicle burns. But as time have changed, my short-term dream job is for me to be an Uber driver. What do you mean by that? Well, think. That's an opportunity for me to actually get to know random people. See what society is really thinking. Get a pulse on society and see if there's any warning signs, and anything that I should be aware of, any benefits, and any downsides, any areas that I should stay away from, any opportunities of growth, and just start slowly creating those connections. Plus, the more you deal with people, the more you learn. The more conversations you have, the more you have the opportunity to actually grow yourself both spiritually, physically, and mentally. And they're like, how physically? And some with my vision, I'm driving. Oh shit! There's a turn. It requires a little muscle just yanking on that steering wheel. But no, as an Uber driver, it's an opportunity to really get to know the average Joe randomly and without expectation. Plus, you are your own business, so you can go as far as you want. Hey, I want a week off. Too easy. I got this. And if Uber fires me because of a low social credit score, that's okay. I got the experience where I can move on to something else. And what is that something else? Well, in conjunction with building tiny homes. Why tiny homes? Well, simple. If you build tiny homes, you have the opportunity to create homes that are highly mobile. Why is that important? Well, if you have people in California wanting to flee their hellhole, they will want to take their money and get a plot of land. Well, since people are going to Texas, and getting a plot of land in Texas, I hear, was relatively easy and relatively affordable, it's easy for them to just hunker down into their tiny homes and live peacefully until civil arrest, and then they can just hitch up the trailer and ricky-tick out of there like the Beverly Hillbillies, right? So they're constantly able to move, and there's a lot of benefits and freedoms in that capability. So I want to take advantage of both long-term food storage and long-term mobility, because if stuff goes down, I'm gonna be buckling both down, and I'm gonna be the one rick-a-ticking. So I hope that answers that question. One last question.
What's your favorite food at the defect?
All right, I have to edit this out since no one on YouTube actually knows I'm in the military. The question that was just asked was, what is my favorite food? But unfortunately, it was totally the microphone that didn't pick up. All right. My favorite food that's served at the local restaurant here has to be cucumbers. I don't think I can possibly eat too much cucumbers. I swear, talk to my boss. My boss here will testify that I eat at least 10 cucumbers a day. And he's like, don't you ever get sick of it? Oh, no. This is amazing. It brings me back. There's that nostalgia from when I used to grow cucumbers. I savor that memory. God knows I can't stand the other food. All right. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Hager's Hangout. Bye.